One of you have asked us to bring this up. What happened between the Porto manager Sergio Conceição and Mikel Arteta last night? Was there a bit of sniping from one technical area to another? What went on with that? There are a few texts about this. The accusation that Arteta said something to Conceição during the game which got under the skin of Conceição was put to Arteta post-match. Have a listen.
Could you tell us what happened between you and Sergio Conceição on the pitch after the game?
No comment. Thank you so much.
That was that. It seemed to knock over his mic on the way out. Conceição, for his part, said, Arteta turned to the bench during the game and insulted my family in Spanish. I told him that the person he insulted is no longer among us. Let him worry about training his team, which has more than enough quality to play a lot better. So he had a nice little that and have that as I go as well. What do you make of that, Simon? Is it something and nothing?
I think it's something and nothing. I mean, he could have. I mean, I personally, if I was Arteta and I didn't want to answer conversation, I'd say, "Can you ask?" No, I can't. Why not? Because I don't want to. Because I don't answer to you in the media. I'll say what I want to who I want. But the point is that the other fella made a song and dance out of it. There's always interaction between benches. There's always things being said. If he turned around and said to him, "Oh, you son of a whatever," then that will be the idea that he could be criticising someone that's no longer alive in that person's family. I think it's childish. I think it's unnecessary. Managers exchange observations about one another and about situations and instances on a pitch all the time. It's never what happens in the heat of the battle. It's always what happens at the end of it. As long as you don't cross lines, he's a bad loser. And not that he should be a good loser. But he's a bad loser. He's lost the game. He's upset about it, and he wants to turn it into.
He wouldn't have mentioned it if they'd won, would he?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's much to do. It's mountain out of a molehill, really. But I agree with you. I mean, the stuff I've heard, and not just managers, assistant managers, medical, they're all at it, giving it each other. Some people say more, let's say, intrusive things than others, offensive.
Yeah.
But very rarely does it cross the line. Things can be misinterpreted, can't they? Like Simon just gave a great example there. The reality is, on occasion, could Arteta and his staff be a little bit more subdued? Yes, but they're not going to be because it's just.
And why should they have to be?
I'm not saying they should, but there are occasions where they could trigger the opposition,
and it's backfired on them. We've also seen Arteta call out certain things and find himself on the other end of it in situations at Liverpool and so on and so forth, where he's been on the receiving end of it. He runs the gauntlet of being over-animated and over-enthusiastic, and that's his choice. The opposition, mind your business. Mind what you're doing. You operate the way you want to operate. They operate the way they want to, and the only reason you've got the ump about it is because you've lost the game.
Yeah.
If Arteta had made some observation during the context of a conversation that was going on between two technical areas, and the game had been won by Porto, we wouldn't be hearing this.
No. You never say anything to some of your managers at Palace who are obviously on the wind-up? I mean, Neil Warnock's a perfect example.
No, not at all.
No?
I expect them to, within reason, to behave themselves appropriately. I remember Souness on the touchlines a few times, watching him when he was Blackburn Rovers manager, and some of the things that come out of his trap were unbelievable.
Like that's what?
At fourth officials and at the opposition's bench. I mean, the language you can't use on this show.
Really?
It was as rife and as strident as it could possibly be.
Well, if you're not an Arsenal fan, many people queue up to tell us that they don't like Mikel Arteta. There's Rob. Arteta is one reason I hope Arsenal don't win anything this season. His antics on the sidelines as a neutral are so annoying, hence I root for the other team.
Yeah, but I think you get that with a lot of the managers. That you'll have a lot of managers who don't like Klopp, don't like Guardiola, don't like Arteta. The reality is, for me, I don't really care what they do on the sideline. I studied the team and how good they are, and if they're playing for the manager, and are they well coached. And the fact is, Arsenal have progressed a long way. They do look like a hell of a good side who are playing for the manager. So he's doing something right, irrelevant of some histrionics on the sideline.
Yeah.
I mean, the only one that creates a feeling of general well-being most of the time is probably Postecoglou right now. But that's because Spurs are playing a brand of football and not winning anything. So everyone's quite happy with that. When you start challenging...
You mean the way he conducts himself?
Well, yeah, that's my point. He doesn't create a reaction in neutral fans or fans of the opposition.
You could throw Pochettino in there as well.
Yeah, but he's just a flake, so you don't have to. I mean, but the point is...
He's a flake?
He's a flake.
What does that mean?
He's a flake. Look at the way he interviews after games. He's a flake. Look at the way he lets Gary Neville get away with tripe that was said about him and his team, and that's flaky. You want managers to be a bit more robust. Everyone's going to look at that and go,
maybe
flake.
He's just got an alternative
flake,
way of dealing.
Neville said dreadful things about Chelsea being bottle jobs in the final, and his attitude is, I respect Gary. Well, I don't respect Gary. If I was in his shoes for that comment, I would respect him as a person, but not for that observation or to have him on his toes for
above it. It doesn't want to engage.
Well, no, he didn't. He addressed it. by the very nature of the fact that he addressed it.
Do you know what? It's a fair
He
point
didn't
you
rise
make.
above it.
It is a fair point you make, but there is
Thank you.
something. There is something.
There's my explanation of FLAKE.
There is something reasonably admirable about someone who doesn't always get triggered by someone asking them a question about what someone said.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.